The hook and the great question, imagine this. You're sitting in a dimly lit room at 3 a.m., your body heavy as stone, your mind a storm of static. The world outside is asleep, but you're wide awake, pinned to your chair by a force you can't name. You've tried therapy, medication, meditation, tools that worked for others but only left you emptier. The diagnosis is clear: depression, a malfunction, a defect, a chemical error in the machine of your brain. But what if the experts are wrong? What if this void isn't a mistake, but a message? Here's the contradiction that will unravel everything you've been told. Depression, the very thing society calls your enemy, might be the only part of you brave enough to tell the truth. You've been taught to see it as a predator, a wolf at the door, a shadow to flee. But what if it's the opposite? What if it's the canary in your coal mine, screaming through numbness to warn you of a life suffocating under lies? Carl Jung once wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Could this pain be the birth pang of a self you've buried? A self your polished, performative life has no room for. Think of the last time you felt truly alive. Not happy, not productive, alive, raw, awake. It might have been a moment of rage, grief, or rebellion. A flash of clarity where you saw through the script society handed you. The career ladder, the curated relationships, the relentless chase for validation. Depression often arrives when that script starts to rot. When the roles you play, the good employee, the loyal friend, the endless giver, begin to feel like costumes sewn to your skin. But here's the unsettling question. What if depression isn't trying to destroy you, but to dismantle the prison you've mistaken for a home? Modern psychiatry pathologizes despair, but philosophy whispers a darker truth. Nietzsche called depression the winter of the soul, not a death, but a necessary hibernation. A season where the seeds of reinvention gestate beneath frozen soil. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, argued that meaninglessness, not suffering, is the true enemy of humanity. Could your depression be a revolt against a life stripped of meaning? A primal refusal to keep dancing when the music is poison? Consider this: you wake up each day and perform. You smile when you want to scream, say yes when your soul shouts no. You swallow your rage, your boredom, your hunger for something real. And with every betrayal of your truth, a part of you goes numb. Depression might be the backlash, a biological mutiny. Your psyche, starved of authenticity, begins to shut down non-essential systems. Joy, motivation, hope. It's not a breakdown, it's a strike. What if your mind is refusing to participate in a game it knows is rigged? The greater the lie you're living, the louder the void screams. Think of the executive who collapses after a promotion, the parent who falls mysteriously ill once the children leave, the artist who stops creating to chase stability, only to find themselves paralyzed by dread. Society calls these crises disorders. But what if they're rebellions? The soul's last-ditch effort to revolt against a life of self-betrayal. You've been told depression is a flaw to fix. But flip the lens. What if it's the most honest part of you? The child within who still knows what realness feels like, refusing to comply. This is not a romanticization of suffering. This is a confrontation with a truth so uncomfortable it's been buried under a mountain of Prozac and platitudes. Your depression might be the only thing standing between you and spiritual death. It's the part of you that still cares enough to collapse rather than keep limping forward. The part that would rather feel nothing than keep pretending. But here's the trap. We've medicalized the soul's cry for help. turned existential emergencies into chemical equations, taught an entire generation to fear their own darkness rather than decode it. And in doing so, we've severed humanity from its most vital compass, the ability to listen when our deepest selves scream. So let me ask you, really ask you, when the void whispers, nothing matters, could it be pointing not to universal truth, but to the specific lies you've been force-fed? When your body refuses to move, is it laziness or a silent protest against a life of motion without meaning? When you fantasize about disappearing, is it a death wish or a birth wish? A craving to shed the false self like a snakeskin? This is where our journey begins. Not with solutions, but with a demolition of everything you've been told about the darkness within. In the next section, we'll descend into the underworld of your psyche, where Jung's shadow, Nietzsche's abyss, and Frankl's existential vacuum converge. You'll discover how modern society became a factory for despair, why ancient cultures revered depression as sacred initiation, and what happens when we mistake the map for the territory. But first, you must sit with the question, the great, terrible question. What if the part of you that wants to die is actually the part that knows how to live?